Hi, my name is Shannon and welcome to Justlivin Designs podcast. This is episode number 45. It is Thursday, July 17th, about 10:30 in the morning. This will come out on Friday morning. This is my knitting podcast that I talk about everything that I've been making, and I am an independent knitwear designer, so I'll talk about my own designs or new releases, which I have one today. I talk about other people's designs. I talk about my bags and yarns and everything I'm using. So everything I talk about, I'll have linked down below. Once I talk about the knitting stuff, which it's light on the knitting this time, I will talk about my acquisitions and then reading, watching, and life stuff. There is a lot of life stuff. And one of the reasons I haven't been knitting as much. All right, if you want to hear about that, stick around to the end. Starting with my new design. And this is a new sock design that I designed specifically for self-striping yarn, but it looks just as good in like tonals. Variegated might get lost in it, but like speckled would look good. I had some testers that did some other types of yarn, not just self-striping. So yeah, this is the Wandering Socks. And I wrote it in two versions. Top down with my square heel turn that works well with self-striping because it doesn't disrupt those stripes nearly as much. And toe up with an afterthought heel. So there's instructions for both top down and toe up within the pattern. There's instructions for both types of heels, all the things. And there's tons of tutorial links to help you along the way with any of the methods used in this sock. So I'm going to talk about this version first. So this sock has also a right foot and a left foot instructions for both versions. So like here's the right foot where the pattern is on the outside, and the left foot where the pattern's on the outside. So this side is completely stockinette. So most of the sock is stockinette except for this fun little detail that's along the outside of the sock, and it runs all the way down the leg. All right, and it is not a cable. This is a faux cable. Very fun, very nice, and it's called Wandering Socks because it kind of wanders down the leg or up the leg depending on which way you go. Looks like a meandering, wandering stream to me. Yeah, so this yarn I used was from my Freckled Whimsy Club for her Nature's Palette Club. So it was March's colorway, and it was called Spring Awakens. And it was in her Glee base, which is 90% superwash Targhee, 10% nylon. And it came with the mini. And then this other version was made, and this is the toe-up version that I knit. And again, this is the left sock and the right sock. And this was made with Mustache Yarns, and Not All Who Wander Are Lost. I thought it was pretty apt to use this colorway for the Wandering Socks. This is a Lord of the Rings reference. And then I had a Coats & Company mini that I used for the cuff and toe. And then I did my self-striping for bullseyeing the heel. And again, like I said, even afterthought heel, there's tutorials in the pattern linked to this channel because all the tutorials that I'm trying to link anymore are my own. But yeah, fun. There will be a 15% discount. I will have the link to the pattern itself and the coupon code down below that you can type in to use on Ravelry and on PayHip on Lovecraft, because I do have 3 sites that you can buy patterns. Lovecraft, I can't do any coupon code, so If you only use Love Crafts, that you're just going to have to pay the full price. It will last, the coupon code always goes for about a week. I'm slating this to come out either today, Thursday, or Friday morning when this podcast comes out. So that's when it will be released by the time you guys see this. And very fun. All my testers really enjoyed it. A lot of them said they wanted to make more pairs, so I hope you guys enjoy it too. There's many sizes. What is it, 7 or 8 sizes? I can't remember. I think it might be 8 sizes. So very size inclusive for the littles all the way up to wider feet. Fun. All right. Hope you guys enjoy that. And again, everything I talked about will be linked down below. If you want to get, I will only link probably the Ravelry page to get to that pattern, but there is a link tree that can take you both to Love Crafts and Pay Hips as well. All right, now I'm going to do one finished object. That's all I have from the last 2 weeks. And this, I believe I had cast on last time. Let me go back and just show notes and look. Yes, I did. I had them cast on. Oh yeah, because I talked about, I had the little video showing you it was a Musselburgh hat first, and then it was just pooling, and I didn't like it, and it turned out so much better with the smaller gauge and the smaller stitch count as socks. So this is the Minecraft socks pattern. It's a free pattern. You can find it on Ravelry by Heather Cox. The pattern itself has one size. So I manipulate this pattern in a multitude of ways. I change the sock, the cast on count and the numbers that I use depending on what size I'm making. This I did a 64 stitch count. I believe the pattern itself is like 68. I change it to fall nice evenly over the foot how I like it. And then I also changed the heel to my GHFSS heel, which is the square heel turn. I believe the sock itself continues the patterning down the heel flap, and I just don't like that. I like the slip stitch heel flap. I think it wears a little bit better. So, yeah, all the changes. Usually I've used this pattern a lot of times. And like I said, I use it just for the patterning, and then I change it all the way. But yes, it is a free pattern you can find on Ravelry. If you're up for changing stitch counts, go for it. But I love these. This is going to be a gift. I said I knit the 64 stitch. I actually used a US 0 on these. I usually use a US 1, but this is thinner yarn, so I didn't want the stitches to be too big. So I used a 0, and I got, the yarn was La Bien Aimée, and their Merino Super Sock, and the colorway was Winter Garden. I got this as a gift years ago from a sock swap, and now it's going to be a gift for a Christmas present for either my niece or sister-in-law. They both have the same size feet, at least right now. My niece is growing, so it might have to be my sister-in-law. We'll see if her feet still fit this size. Because she's at that age that she hasn't finished growing yet. Yeah. All right. I think, yeah, that's all there is for FOs. I have finished some other work projects that I'll show when they kind of release more. I'm only brought up one whip today, work in progress, because I've put a tiny bit of effort into other things, like my blanket, the little miter square blanket. I only added 2 squares since last time. I've added like a square to my Christmas blanket. I've added a square to my other cozy memory blanket. I've put a stripe in on my mini scarf. I just haven't, even my husband's sweater that I started, I haven't even worked very much on that. So, I finished these socks, I finished a work sock, and then I started a new pair of socks, and that's been the majority of my knitting. So I figured I'd just bring up the new pair. I'll get out. So So this was originally that other pair of socks that I just showed you, the Winter Garden ones, were going to be for a different niece that has a larger foot size than me. But with the smaller needle size and the 64 stitches, it just turned out too small, I thought, around. And so I cast on another pair of Christmassy themed yarn that I had in stash, and I'm making this for her because she wears a size 9, women's 9.5 US. Oh, that's not what I want. I want the peg. And so I figured I would cast on a pair for her. I think I bought this yarn last year. But yeah, so I did 64 stitches again, but I did a US 1, but I also did a 3x1 rib for the whole sock to help suck it in. But yeah, this will fit her a lot better, I think, than that other sock would, just because it's a little bit looser. So this is Rose Hill Yarns. Oh, that's not easy to see because of the glare. Sorry. And then this was last year. She had like comes out with Yarn Club yarns where it's not a lot Yarn Club you subscribe to, but you order it. And this was December's Club last year, Nordic Winter. It's a colorway. And it actually came with 100 gram of the sock main color and then 2 20-gram minis. There was this like purple color, and then there was a deep red cherry color as well. And I asked my daughter, because my niece and my daughter are the same age, which one she thought my niece would like better. And she said the purple would make it not as festive-y, she thought. So it would be worn more times out of the year, which I agree. And yeah, this pattern that I used is my trusty top-down sock pattern. It's heel flap and gusset with a normal heel turn, and it has a garter edge for the heel. And like I said, I did the contrast for the cuff and toe, 1x1 for the cuff, 3x1 for the leg and the foot. Because gift socks fit better if they have ribbing. Helpful hint. And I did start the second sock the other day. And I'm this far on the second sock. So I have got the cuff done, and I'm starting into the leg. And this is in a bag by my friend Jane, Rose and the Wren. Whenever I knit, these are like Christmassy themed because it's Christmas in July. I pull out my more wintry holiday bags, and I think I got this one last year or 2 years ago. I just loved it. I thought it went well with the Nordic winter theme of the sock. So I was like, because that's very, Nordic-y looking to me. So yeah, that is that. So that's all like the knitting, guys. I have a ton of acquisitions though. But yeah, not a lot of knitting. Like I said, I've been dealing with other things. I will talk about some acquisitions because I ordered some yarn from the Lemonade Shop, which I've never gotten yarn from them before. And they do it where it's like they have certain colorways up on their site, but they're all kind of like a pre-order, dyed-to-order type situation, so it takes time for you to get them. And I was on their site looking at their yarns, and I liked one of these colorways I liked a lot, and the other one I just liked the name, and I thought it would work for, some family. Not me, I'm not a pink person. But, so there's the Lemonade Shop's tag, and then this one is Persist. And I love this color. I thought it was very fun. She does amazing speckles, I would say. And then this one is Revolt. And just fantastic speckles. And these are both in her Mighty Sock 468 yards for 100 grams, 75/25 superwash merino nylon. And yeah, so very happy to have my first lemonade shop yarns. Next, my local yarn shop, the Yarn Bar, has been having a summer sale, and it's been a progressive sale. They're getting rid of some yarn lines within the shop. I think right now you can't do any of the shopping online, but you can call or you can stop in to shop it. And there's lots of different things from, I think everything now, I don't know if anything is 25% anymore. I think it's all 50% and to 75% off. So I went in there with my daughter, was it last week sometime? I can't remember when it was. And we picked up some stuffs. So I picked up a tea towel first. This is from a company in UK, Katie Green. It's Crafty Sheep Tea Towel. So it's sheepies with woolly bits and yarns and everything. That one's crocheting. I don't know if this one's crocheting. I don't know if any of them are actually knitting or not, but I crochet as well, so I'll take it. But yeah, got a tea towel. And then I picked up, this was, they stock Emma's yarn. And this was one of the Perfectly Halves. And I think this was the colorway for June, maybe? She has certain colorways. I don't know what color it's called. But I think it was the June colorway. And I thought this would work really great for heels, toes, and cuffs, especially with self-striping yarn. It's kind of fun to put speckles in them sometimes. It's a 50-gram sock yarn. And then I picked up, don't break. I picked up 3 plates of Matchalope. So they carry Matchalope, which is by Wool Dreamers. And then this is the Matchalope, and this colorway is what? Verde. So it's a very pale green. And you can see like the gray hues and flecks in there. And so this is an unspun, comes with 2 strands. It makes, I think they call it DK. I think it knits up to a bulky. And I bought 3 plates of this. They only had, I think they had 2 different colorways that were on sale. Not all their Matchalope, just 2 colors. This was one of them, and then the other one, I can't remember what it was. I have made a cardigan for myself out of this before, and my daughter thought it was the softest thing. It's very soft. And so I'm gonna knit her the Sela by Jonah Helene. I think she's one of the curators for Lina magazine. This came out many years ago. I don't know if it has a date on it when it came out. But yeah, it's supposed to be used with bulky weight yarn and a gauge of 14 stitches to 20 rows, which I think is, I can't remember if I got 14 or 15 when I knit this last time. I'll have to look back in my notes for when I knit my other sweater with this, what my gauge was. But yeah, so 3 plates of that to make my daughter something. And then my daughter bought like a skein of some sort of sparkly yarn. Not sure what, I can't remember. Just because she thought it was pretty. I don't know what she's going to do with it. Yeah, so that was more yarn than I was expecting for the month. I still haven't gotten my club from Freckled Whimsy. I'll get that towards the end of the month for August. So I'll have more yarn coming in. I'm not doing as good as I was at the beginning of the year. That usually is how it happens. And then I ordered 1 bag, a Christmassy bag, because I wanted to. This is from Barley Pearls. And I love their bags, their sock bags. I think this is now my third one that I have. Barley Pearls. They have lots of different options for their bags. So you can get like, this is the small. I think there might even be an extra small. I'm not sure. And then they have medium and large. You can have them snap or drawstring or zipper. They have like the fixed handle or detachable handle. This is the way I like them. The small size. It's perfect for a pair of socks or a hat. It has 2 pockets on the inside and a little ring for holding things if you want. It's got a boxed bottom. Yeah, it's just a lovely little bag. I don't mind zipper bags, especially if they have the thin toothed zippers, because the yarn doesn't get caught in these. And you just make sure everything's inside before you zip it. But yeah, this is fun. I loved it. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was like, it's a holiday sock one and they got funny little faces and things on them. And I just thought it was perfect. So I might even, I don't know, if I cast on another Christmas sock, it's going in here, but I haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet for the month. Anyways, I really like it. It's cute. That just came in the mail yesterday. I didn't think I was going to get here before I podcasted. So bonus for you guys. You got to see it early. Like I said, lots of acquisitions. All right. That's all the yarny stuff. Now I'm going to do reading, watching, and like I said, there's a lot of life stuff. Reading, I finished reading The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin. It was the 3rd book in the Broken Earth series. It's a dystopian-ish future sci-fi type book, I guess. It all takes place for the most part on Earth, but there's magics and other powers that certain people have, and it's very, I found the series hard to get into, but once I did, I really enjoyed it a lot. So if you like that type of novel, it's only a 3-book series. I recommend it. Then The Shining, I have had to put on pause because I had to return it to the library. I was listening to that on my Libby app. So I think there's like a couple months before I get it back. And I don't own a physical copy of that one, so I can't just continue reading it at home. So I'll just wait. I think I was like 68 or 70% done when it happened, so that kind of was a bummer, but it is a longer book. And then I started listening to Wool by Hugh, Howey. It is the first book of the Silo series. I bought this book years ago, or a year ago or two. I've had it for a little while, knowing I wanted to read it. And then I put it on my Libby app, and when it came up after The Shining went back, I was like, okay, I will listen to this now. And now I think I'm over 50% done with that. But it's going to be returned shortly too, probably, unless I can renew it. But I do have a physical copy of it, so that one I'm going to continue reading, just the physical book. I'm really enjoying that book. I think I'll probably really enjoy the series. I think, again, it's a 3-book series. But yes, I'm very much enjoying that book. Apparently, I'm into like sci-fi dystopian future stuff right now. Imagine that. And then watching, we watched A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan bioflick. My husband and I watched that with our daughter because my son didn't want to watch it. I enjoyed it. I love Bob Dylan, so it was good to see his early years kind of and how it progressed, I guess. I know it's romanticized, of course, but it was interesting. And then we rewatched Hamilton on the 4th of July. Watched High Fidelity with the kids one night. I love that movie. It's John Cusack. They both enjoyed it. Even my son, who that's not his cup of tea for types of movie. My daughter loves like romantic comedy type things, and so she loved it, but my son even liked it. Watched Get Out with my daughter and my husband. I saw it shortly after it came out, and then Hadn't seen it again, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good, like, scary movie. One of the better scary movies that's not a remake. It's not a gross scary movie, but it's a good scary movie. My daughter and I finally finished the second season of Night Agent, and then we started watching Ballard, however you pronounce it. Apparently that is a offshoot of Bosch, I think, which we never watched. So we're just watching the season of Ballard, and then we are going to decide if we want to watch Bosch after that. She likes to watch crime dramas with me, so that's what we're watching. And then I started watching Freaks and Geeks. I believe that's on Amazon Prime, as well as Ballard as well. It was a one-season show that came out in 2000, but you recognize a lot of the actors in it. It's probably one of their first big acting roles for a lot of these actors, that portrays high schoolers in the 80s, or 1980 specifically. Yeah, watching a lot of stuff. I've also started rewatching like Taskmaster, just because I've needed jovial laughs of late. Life, I'm going to start with the good stuff and end with the bad stuff. All right, 4th of July was 2 weeks ago, almost exactly. We went up to the mountains like we usually do. We live about an hour away from the Beartooth Pass, all that area. And we went up to a hiking trail that we've been to once. I can't remember the name of the trail. Got to drive a ways to get to it. But it is a lovely trail. A lot of it is in a burn area that was burnt maybe 10 years ago. So there's not a lot of tree coverage for the first like ways of the trail. Luckily it wasn't too hot out that day, so we didn't get overheated. There's tons of wild raspberries and strawberries. None of them had fruit yet along that trail. And we saw a moose, which is the first time I've seen a moose in person. I believe ever. Possibly. But yeah, we saw a moose that was actually fairly close to the trail. So the first time we saw it, we, stopped, took some pictures, but then continued going. We did have two of our dogs with us. They did not notice the moose, luckily, and did not react. So that's good. It was a female, and I didn't see a baby. So luckily, or else we could have been in danger, because moose can be mean. Then we continued up the trail. There's a creek that runs out of the mountains from there, and there was a nice little like pool area for that creek in part of the trail where the dogs got to get in the water and swim around a little bit. Swim. They don't really swim. They are swimming dogs, but they don't really swim. They get freaked out. They like to be in the water, but not swim in the water. And then continued up, and then there's a lovely waterfall. We didn't get to there's a second waterfall further on in the trail, but usually my son especially gets tired, because that was over a 4-mile hike. 4.5 miles or so total, I think. It was a long hike. And then shortly after we got back to the car, we ate our lunch. We always pack a lunch when we go. And it kind of started to sprinkle in by the time we were like leaving the area, because we were going to head up further into the pass so we could go find some snow and have a snowball fight, because that's our other tradition we do on the 4th of July. It was raining pretty good, and didn't look like it was going to clear up. I knew that was a chance. There was rain storms chances in the afternoon. And so I was like, going up in the pass when it's raining is not the most fun, because that's when you get more rock falls, and it might not be big ones, but still it's not so fun. So, and we wanted to get out and like run around and have a snowball fight if it's rainy and cold, because it's cold up at the top where there is snow. Yeah, so we didn't end up going up into the pass. What else? I picked up, last year we got a ukulele that we won from a silent auction for my daughter's speech and debate team, and I picked it up those last couple of weeks, and tuned it and printed out some songs. Well, one song so far was Over the Rainbow, and started practicing that because I used to play acoustic guitar back in high school and college age, well, young 20s. And I don't really play it much anymore. I could probably pick up and play a few chords, but I figured it'd be fun to learn a few songs on the ukulele. And my son has also been picking it up with me and trying to play as well. So that's been fun. Then this last Monday, it was really hot this last weekend. And then Monday we got up to about 100, and I took the kids to the lake. There's a little lake up in the heights there you can go to, and we spent a good 3 hours up there. We went up before lunchtime, packed our lunch, and had our lunch up there as a picnic, and just hung out in the lake on floaties and enjoyed the outside. And then, yeah, so that's all the fun, enjoyable stuff that's happened. What was it? Last week. Yeah, it was just last week. Was it? Just last week, my husband's parents died tragically in a house fire. Nobody lives too terribly close by. We're a good 9-ish hours away. My brother-in-law is 5 hours away, and then my sister-in-law lives in Scotland, so she's very far away. They owned it was a small town that they lived in a neighboring small town. They owned a local store, grocery store, all this stuff. So there's a lot of logistics to deal with everything, plus the tragedy of losing both your parents. So yes, my husband was back in the area helping his brother out for a few days over the weekend and the beginning of this week. We'll be traveling back there again here shortly. Because of that, I will not be back podcasting in 2 weeks. I will be busy. I wasn't even sure if I was going to podcast today, but it's been a little bit of time. I also had a pattern that was ready to release, and I was like, I just want to get that off my plate, so it's one less thing to think about. So releasing the pattern because the test had wrapped up and stuff. So yeah, but yeah. So that's why there hasn't been as much knitting. And that's why, anyways, yeah, that's all I can say about all that. But yeah, tragic loss to the family. So I hope you guys had a better 2 weeks than I did. And I hope you have a good 3 weeks coming up. I'm sure things will just keep getting better. I lost my mom a few years ago, and it's hard. So yeah, anyways. I will see you guys again in a few weeks. Bye.